So that was really great. Ladies and gentlemen, Elizabeth Olsen and Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Hey guys, how's it going? Nice one, yeah?
Hey.
Would you like to
I sit here. This is great.
Great, perfect.
This is a great situation.
Thank you guys for joining us. The trailer is so
you.
great. Just watching again, it's really exciting. You have like in the trailer we see you have a great primal scream, and I feel like you do that a few times in the movie. What's the key to a great scream like that? It looks very very exhausting, I guess.
What's the key to a great scream? Sad thoughts.
Okay.
That's an acting lesson for you all there.
Just really sad thoughts of like the worst thing ever, I guess. And then I always knew that they weren't going to use the sound, which was nice. So I could kind of choose to make a sound or not make a sound.
That's good.
And it's killer in slow-mo as well, man. When you slow-mo that down, man, that's awesome. Like, it's just epic. With that, like, eerie score underneath it. Just
but usually facial expressions aren't great in slow-mo because sometimes we'll do super slow-mo moves.
Okay.
And, you know, you're trying to do effort. But what I just did just then in slow-mo is quite literally the most unattractive thing you could ever see anyone do. It's so weird. And Joss would always remind me to use a calm face. Okay. Because that is okay to watch.
Huh, that's a good tip. So next time
no one wants to watch.
So you gotta have a calm face, a calm face, but have like
intensity.
Intensity.
Like Jeremy Renner.
I'd put that the opposite way around for Renner, actually.
But no, he's really calm.
He's got like an intense face, but he's always calm.
But it's all, yeah.
So you guys work together, obviously, on Godzilla. When there we go, some Godzilla fans in the house as well.
Yay!
So who was approached first for Ultron, or were you both approached at the same time, or how did that work?
You had a meeting with Joss first. I
had a meeting with Joss actually before I stepped foot on set on Godzilla. So it was a big, long year process of kind of conversations and talking about it, and you know they were obviously pulling all the main cast from everywhere, trying to book their dates and what have you. So I had plenty of time to be hanging out with the Marvel guys and, you know, talking about the character and what have you. So, but yeah, it was quite early on, and that sort of gave us time or gave me a lot of time to look at the material and research about Quicksilver and ask a ton of questions. And my main fear was, you know, like what would I possibly, you know, what impact can our characters have in such a huge ensemble cast and such huge superheroes and what have you? And he had a very, you know, interesting thread for our characters throughout, and that it's quite a poignant roles that they have, especially Scarlet Witch. And she, you know, it's really because of her that this whole movie has a whole different angle. I mean, it allows us to dive into each superhero individually and break them down emotionally and look at their darkest fears and what have you. So it was really interesting. So yeah, I was locked and intrigued, and yeah. So your process, what was your process like?
It's fun. Like I met with Joss, but that's when he told me what characters he was casting. Like I didn't know why we were meeting.
Same for me.
And then afterwards, because it wasn't my job, I didn't hold on to it. Like it was just a meeting in my mind, so I didn't like do research or anything. I was just like, well, that's not gonna happen. Like I'm gonna move on with my life. And then got the call
6 months later.
6 months later, after we did Godzilla.
So you're doing it.
And then that was really exciting. And then they gave us like a huge binder. Like mine's already broken because it's so big, of like everything Scarlet Witch, just in all comics throughout all the decades, and they did that for both of us, and that was super cool.
Were you guys super familiar with the characters before the movies, or no?
No, not at all. That was literally my education right there.
Yeah, Joss's version, like he told me about Scarlet Witch, and then he said, when you go home after this meeting and you look at the comics online, just know you will never look like that. And I was like, okay. And then I saw it and I was like, whoa, damn. I don't want to look like that. I mean, I do want to look like that, but I don't.
Josh like really loves these characters. Like I feel like he talked a lot about how important it was for him to add them when he was writing the script. And then, I mean, you guys are like, and this is not a spoiler alert, but it's like the first shot of the movie, the first people we see are both of you guys.
I got really excited
which
when
is
that
really
happened.
cool and like really kind of like obviously these are like you're the very important addition. So I guess did you three all talk about that too and like their relationship together and because obviously like they're brother and sister, but also they kind of have like a parental vibe sometimes or best friends and stuff. I mean, like how much of that did you guys discuss? And
talked about all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the moment we both knew we were actually still finishing Godzilla and knew that we were going to play brother and sister and then which was we were thrilled about and was able to then talk a lot about it and kind of break it down. And there was a lot of discussion about, because visually these two characters are very close, like drawn very intimately and what have you, and we wanted to keep that look but have a reason for it without kind of people raising an eyebrow, you know. And then the angle we came at was that, you know, that they all they have in the world is one another, and like and they're outsiders, and usually even when they, you know, with the Avengers or what have you, they're very they're very protective over one another and don't really trust a lot of people and have boundaries and you know, they lose their parents, so you know, they just have that connection, and when they're not with each other they're very vulnerable without one another and insecure, and then that starts to build layers, you know, and very protective. There are stuff where the Scarlet Witch is like cradling Quicksilver and things like that, and it's very maternal and looks sort of very motherly and
in the comics.
And she, in the comic books, and she's very kind of thoughtful and, you know, mindful. Her whole sort of superpower and what have you. Whereas my character is super speed. I kind of took that into his kind of his personality to be sort of like quick-tempered and like frustrated and impatient and kind of hot-headed and arrogant because he's fast and kind of cocky. You know, you start sort of pulling it off the page and throwing ideas to one another, and that's, we had a lot of time to build characters together. And then of course, whilst we were having that time together, a lot of it was doing a lot of dialect coaching with the Sokovian accent, because that was somewhere that was based in Eastern Europe, and that was another part that that we, you know, had to kind of present that to the Marvel guys and Joss and what have you, to sort of, you know.
We're also making up an accent, so you know, like people like they needed to like be like, okay, that doesn't sound like too Russian, because then Black Widow would be able to understand. You guys should just be speaking in your languages if you sound Russian. So it was just to try and you get an understanding, but you can't pinpoint where it is because it's nowhere.
Be clear enough that
you can understand us.
Yeah, because at one point they were like, well,
English enough where it's like, why are they speaking English?
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, that and look as well, like the white hair and what have you. We had a lot of tests to kind of see how far we could push it and where they'd rein it back and what have you. But it
was a fun process.
Yeah, it was very creative.
The process started when we did the tag at the end of Captain America 2. And that was like in January or February. And then we didn't start filming till May. So all of that time was us developing the look, and what, you know, that was the beginning.
And I had long dark hair to about here. So we knew we had a little bit of length to play with, and maybe we could go white with it. There was some like funny white strands in it. It was like a really bad rockers,
like Rock of Ages. Yeah, that was what I was thinking too. Good. You mentioned their relationships and stuff. Another big relationship I feel like the twins have in this movie, obviously, is with Hawkeye. I just loved you guys. He really kind of sort of evolves into a almost surrogate parent for you guys, and I to Liam, it felt like a little, or maybe like an older brother. That's how it feels to me. But I guess with you guys, like, what was that like? And working with like Jeremy and stuff on that kind of their relationship.
Yeah, now you say that, I can see where the sort of the fatherly figure comes from.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
I think I thought more of him as like a coach.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah, I didn't think of it as a father figure, to be honest, but
show me the ropes kind of thing.
My connection was, I remember sort of saying with Josh is like, so, you know, I know that there's always superheroes, like, you know, they butt heads and there's egos in the room and there's a lot of banter. Who's my banter going to be with? And then it's like, I think you and Hawkeye should just go head to head.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It was so, it's so funny then, like, throughout the film, their banter together.
Renner just has such great improv and like rips one, you know, like.
Most of those lines that Renner says in the film are improvised, and they're so funny.
That's really, so did that surprise you doing like such a huge film that there's room for improv like that and like
Not
really that kind of personality?
It's usually just kind of at the end of a shot, he would like throw in a sentence.
Well, Renner would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Like, it's not like you improvise while you're working. It's just like, you haven't said cut yet, and I'm just going to say what I'm thinking. And that's what he would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have like a moment on the set that, I guess obviously you mentioned like wrangling all these superheroes and all these major cast members, was there a specific moment where you were like, wow, I feel like we're a part of this group now? I mean, that kind of in the movie, that also happens, but like, you know, for you guys like as actors with that cast.
There's a scene when we meet the Vision, and and we're all together, and just filming that was funny and fun, and we were all a big gang, and we couldn't stop laughing. And it was the one time Joss actually, I think, got irritated with us. But he says he doesn't remember being irritated, and it's like, no, you definitely got mad. But we just kept breaking character and laughing. Like, at one point, Bettany couldn't look me in the eye during the scene because we'd both just start cracking up. So that was my favorite moment where I did feel like we were part of, aside from it being it wasn't the film thing, it wasn't our characters, it was more like just as a cast member.
Yeah.
That was a really special moment. And there are so many moments when you're on set, like fighting at the end sequence, when everyone's dressed up, battling. You're just like, this is happening, you know? This is crazy and awesome and magical. Like, it's movie magic to the nth degree. It's really special.
Yeah, I feel like watching it too, you get that, like, even like having seen the first film, obviously, like, it's like, oh wow, like this is really happening again, like all these amazing actors and like characters that like are iconic characters just all fighting together
and they get
stuff.
funnier and they get more interesting.
Yeah.
It's really cool how Marvel's, what they've mapped it out, and everyone's characters just get deeper and deeper. And like you said, like what you love about them is all the banter and all the bouncing off each other. When you get all of them together, it's just so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that, you know, you've invested so much time, you know, personally in Tony Stark and Captain America and Thor, and then to kind of see them all collide, and then
Again.
And also it's the second, so having them as the sequel of Avengers, they're actually a team that like they fight together now. Like, so when you see that, it's kind of like a spectacle, you know. It's kind of incredible to see how they kind of gel with one another, and then they're like, you know, so it's kind of pretty badass.
Do you guys remember seeing the first Avengers for the first time? Like, where were you? Where were you? Like, do you remember?
I was working in Serbia.
Okay.
And I saw it, and I don't think they have good manners for like cinema there. So they were there are people talking the whole time, and it was very frustrating. I was very thankful that it wasn't dubbed.
Right. Okay.
That's probably why they were talking. They probably had no understanding.
No, there were the subtitles, but they were talking the whole time. Yeah, my dad was visiting. We saw it together.
Did you ever imagine you would be in the sequel to Avengers at that point? Never, right? Like what?
No. Why? Like, I don't. What? I'm still confused about all of it.
I can't remember whether I was in London or wherever or what cinema it was, but I watched it. Yeah, I loved it. I remember being super like impressed that how even Joss managed to kind of convey each character without undermining one another, you know. Like, I found that just I was like, how on earth is one superhero not going to look inadequate to the other, and then just, you know, and thinking Loki was like a fantastic baddie, and how he could hold his own against like 4 or 5 movie stars that are also superheroes, and then having that Hulk moment. Like, it was just the right amount of like banter and humor, and then I was thoroughly
the Thor punch is the best.
Yeah.
The Hulk Thor punch. I always
That's right,
wanted to do
Grand
that
Central,
to
yeah.
Aaron sometime. We'd be on set and he'd be like, but why don't we do this? Why? And I just want to go,
What was it like seeing Joss then up close? Like, I mean, like directing this, like
he has red hair.
keeping
Yeah,
this.
real.
I know what he looks like.
About, yeah.
What was it like for you guys, like having watched that film and seeing like how he pulled off the first one, like experience his?
He seems
Work
like
up
you
close.
wouldn't be able to sort of kind of. The guy's so modest and humble. I remember actually first time I met him was actually at the Toronto Film Festival, and he'd just done. Did you do Much Ado?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then, sorry, someone else said. Yeah, it was Much Ado about.
yeah.
Was it? Was
Yeah.
it?
Much ado about nothing.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and he sort of sauntered up and was just sort of chatting to me and Sam, and then for a while, and then Seamus McGarvey was there, who shot Avengers.
He shot
yeah.
Godzilla as well.
Yeah, and Godzilla, and then it all sort of quickly sort of came into place, and I was like, what? I didn't even like register like this sort of very kind of humble, very casual, like modest guy, who was just talking about I just did this small little indie, that's what I'm here for, and then yeah, it was just incredible. I mean, he's such a nice
so
guy.
many voices.
He does talk in riddles.
Well, that too, but
That is
he's
the
also
hardest
can
thing.
be a lot of voices. Like he knows everyone's character so well, and he was amazing to work with. Like we would come on set, and I would ask him questions about new pages that we're going to film like later on in the week, and he'd be in a totally different world with totally different actors, and he would just be able to switch and understand exactly your arc. And there are 11 main characters, I think, in this film.
Right, yeah. He literally is a genius. Like he puppeteered
It's
the
so
whole
hard.
thing, and how he writes, he literally like steps into the Iron Man suit and then like verbalizes in Tony Stark
Yeah.
kind of way, and then he'll like be like Ruffalo, and he'll just jump in and out like it's like a sort of a beautiful form of bipolar or something. But he is genius.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how on earth you look at this and go like from a director's perspective and go, I have no angle on where do you even begin
Yeah.
to tackle this kind of a
Yeah.
thing.
I think we have a clip that we could show from the movie. It'll feature you guys. Shocker. But let's take a look.
We're in this one.
You're in this one. Very nice. That we get to see the accent or hear the accents there. It's pretty cool.
I just want to
You what?
point
Oh, yeah.
out.
You hear the accents, yeah.
I just want to point out that's kind of how the script was written. So you kind of go, it's funny, Mr. Stark. It's what's comfortable. And then what's the next line?
I don't know.
It was really weird. I'm like, it's funny, Mr. Stark. It's what comfortable. It's comfortable. It's how. What do you want me to do with that, Joss? I'm confused. And then he'll like explain. Literally everything would be in like little like he writes in such sort of like just
Like
like it's
inverted sentences
yeah, like it's
and stuff.
conversational,
Yeah.
which is brilliant because that's like how the whole piece has like been carefully put together. You know, when you have like a big group scene and you've got Robert Downey and everybody's throwing out lines here and there, it's little bits, but on paper it's really quite complicated.
Well, we also saw in that scene, obviously, Ultron factors prominently, and I know James Spader, I think, was doing a lot of motion capture work for that as well, right? So it was
Yeah,
like, what was
the
it
whole
like?
time.
Yeah, so was that? I'm sure that had to help you guys. You have a lot of scenes with Ultron. I don't think that's a spoiler alert, but
Yes,
like,
we have
Right.
a lot of scenes with Ultron, which is James. In reality, it's James Spader in a
onesie.
mocap suit, which is like a grown-up onesie, and like not like the cool ones that like people put selfies on the internet or something. It's not like a kangaroo. It's like the most awkward-looking onesie, and he has a lot of cameras in his on his face at all. So he has this big metal thing around him, and it has all these cameras and all these dots on his face. He has all these different colored dots all over his face to capture his facial expressions. And if he couldn't be on a platform so that we could look eye to eye with him, he would be acting at us, and we would have to look at two red balls about 3 feet above his head instead of him, because those were supposed to be his eyes. So James Spader is like the most dynamic person, and you want to look at him while you're acting with him, but you're being rude and like looking up. It was
Also, it's just
very funny.
It's also it's also kind of hard to react when when like, because he plays it so, you know, each take is different, and you want to kind of react to that, you know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to look above someone's head, but you want to look slightly below that. And the main reason was actually because he'd give such intense performances, and you'd be like locked in here, and then they'd be like, move your head up. You know,
Right. Red balls.
Like, it was, and she'd whisper red balls in my ear. Red balls. Or
you would announce it, like, at the end of a stage. Like, these stages are huge that we would film on. And I'd be entering, because he was fast, so he got there before me. So I'm still, like, walking. And he...
Just doing the normal
doing the normal walk.
Stroll.
And he would, like, yell back at me before a take and be like, Lizzie, red balls! And I was like, thanks, Aaron.
Whilst you're strolling. Look up the red balls.
Do you guys have in the first time, I know the cast hung out a lot and stuff, and you mentioned like how cool that one scene was when you guys felt. Did you guys like in the downtime? Did you guys hang out a lot, or
everyone has kids and families?
Okay, so no.
But there was a lot of hanging time in between takes. Like there were like
in between takes. But you're not going out for like karaoke with like Robert Downey Jr. then, or Chris Evans.
No. That
karaoke
sounds like a lot of fun though. I like went over to his house a couple times for Sunday roast.
Oh, that's fun.
They hung out with his kids. Yeah.
I think, it was actually quite nice. Just before we had that big scene, Robert Downey called us all together and hosted a dinner the night before, just sort of cast and their wives and husbands and what have you. And so that was really nice to kind of have some downtime and get to know one another and then do our scene the next day. And it was really chill because I think we were kind of nervous. It was kind of daunting.
I was totally freaked out.
And then we kind of had a feeling that maybe when we turn up we'd be the only two there and be like, all right, this was like our initiation test, you know?
That would have been funny.
Yeah. A lot of people have asked us if there was hazing, and we're like, we wish, because everyone's asking. They could have made a good story, but
I feel like they've let us down there with no story, so...
You can just start making them up, I guess, right? For the next
so
next
bad
one?
at that. People say that. I'm so bad at making things up.
Well, it can go two ways, kind of. It can go really bad.
Right, that's true. I think we have time now to start taking some audience questions.
Hi. How do you feel playing Scarlet Witch?
How do I feel playing Scarlet Witch?
Yeah.
I feel I'm used to playing a lot of characters that are more sad, I think, and I felt really empowered playing her. I felt tough.
What was it like going from Godzilla to this, and what was your relationship like with Robert Downey Jr.? I'm a big fan of him.
Me too.
I'm a huge fan of his too. So it's very surreal, and especially when you see him in their very iconic, character that they're playing as well, and to be working with him. But he's awesome, man. He was really just weirdly kind of embodied that kind of role of sort of a sort of. It was like a maternal, like a father figure, sort of a leader. Like the way that he pulled us together for that dinner was very much like a nurturing, a respectful kind of, a really lovely thing to do that he didn't have to do, and could have kept to himself. But he's actually a lot of fun, really sweet. Actually, another memory I had is actually we were on the studios, between some of the studios. I don't know what you call them. The great big. Well, between the trailer and the studio, we'd all have these little buggies and stuff.
Like golf
carts, right? And then they sort of pimped him out with so they had he had his
Widow
Iron Man one, and then Scott had the Black Widow symbol on hers, and then we'd all rush to go in, get out, and then jump in our thing, and then race them back and what have you, and drive them, wiggle them through, which was a lot of fun and slightly dangerous, but a lot of fun. But we're all in our superhero things, and Thor's got his cape flying back, and they're just racing, and some of them you're sitting the other way around, so you're waving, and it's kind of funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So those are trippy, but yeah.
This is for Aaron and Lizzie. What was it like working with such a phenomenal ensemble cast? And what was it like do you guys have any funny stories in between takes?
I think it was Paul that said the funniest things that happen, those are the stories you can't tell. No, just because like it's like they're like I don't know, they're personal. You like keeping some things for yourself, but the story I shared was like the most enjoyable moment when we were all laughing on set and we couldn't keep straight faces. What was the first question? Do you remember?
Working with an ensemble like this.
Oh,
it's great to work with an ensemble, I think, because especially from I mean, I think, you know, when stepping on, it's you've got a lot of actors to bounce off of, and you're not the sort of center of attention, or you know, it can be kind of. It's I think it's great to be a part of an ensemble. I think I learned a lot. I mean, they're such talented actors, you know, with Jeremy Renner and Mark Ruffalo and Paul Bettany and Samuel L. Jackson, and it's
Scarlett.
like list goes on and on and on, and
everyone had like crazy amazing movies coming out at that time too. Like Foxcatcher was about to come out. Jeremy Renner produced The Messenger. That was about to come out. Downey had the Judge. Scarlett had Lucy, and that creepy one.
So there are actors that do movies that come out.
No, but there were like amazing films that were coming out while we were filming this film, and you're reminded about the body of work that collectively this cast has that has inspired me my whole life since I was a kid. So it feels crazy to be. I keep feeling like I'm hanging out with a rock band and I'm like the new backup vocalist, so I get to like travel like them, but I'm just like hanging out on the side, and like everyone just wants to see them. So it feels less pressured, but I do feel like I'm hanging out with a cool rock band.
Did you and Paul talk about, obviously Scarlett Witch and Vision have such a relationship in the comics? Did that come up a lot?
We still laugh about it a lot, because we're kind of like, are we going to have kids? Don't know. No one's told us yet.
Maybe in like 2022 or the next
when I'm 40.
Next question over here on the right.
Hi, I'm Faith, and I'm so excited to see you guys in the movie. My question is, when you were a kid, did you ever want to be a superhero? And if so, which one?
Michelle Pfeiffer was Catwoman when I was a kid, so I just wanted to be her. And I was a big Star Wars nerd, so I played a lot of Jedi, and I was Yoda for Halloween when I was 14. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Picture, right? Oh, no, we didn't have it today. Sorry.
It's just a girl in a mask is all it is, a Yoda mask.
Hi, Erin. Hi, Elizabeth. My question, well, obviously, Erin, you played Kick-Ass, so it's not your first superhero movie. So, and Lizzie, what was it like going into this whole superhero type movie that, I mean, obviously you've never done since you've done sad movies?
They're not all sad. I think I like threw my work under the bus just a second ago. They're not all great, but it's a new skill. It's very strange to film one sentence and a head turn for a long time. That's not something I was very comfortable doing. Having done one, I'm really excited to do another, because it's just you just learn as you go, and it's definitely an acquired skill to film these movies. They're totally a different world. I went straight into doing more of like a character piece right after, and it was like, whoa, we're gonna work on like 6 pages today. Crazy. Like we were doing 2/8 of a page for a day. So they both are really fun in different ways, but it's just a new skill. I don't really know how to.
It's challenging, yeah. It's like.
And you're like saving the world like every day. Like what does that look like?
Exhausting, I'm telling
you. Like that's like that's just a crazy concept. I'm gonna like the world is gonna end if we don't do something. Go,
And all the running. I mean, that's very exhausting too, right?
Yeah, actually, what's fun is I actually got to have a superpower this time. So, yeah, and ironically, I don't actually like running that much. So, and that's what I do most days. But it was a lot of fun. It was it was just it was a lot of fun, and like Lizzie said, it is a very technical way of shooting, and can be quite. You'd have to kind of retrace your steps of where you are in the scene, because you could shoot the beginning and then go jump straight to the middle
and
bit.
we were changing the script every day. Like we would be reshooting things we had already shot because the script changed. So now we're like, wait, how did we get here?
Well, Captain America, like he was over there, and now
you guys are teaming up in the same place. So we're deleting that. Yeah.
We're gonna make something up. But don't worry, because we're shooting this first, and then we're gonna go back.
Sometimes we would do a scene, and they wouldn't have written this scene before.
Wow.
So you wouldn't know quite
so
how you were entering.
So we wouldn't be like, well, how'd that end? Yeah.
So when you saw the finished movie, like, what were you like surprised at how well it
I
worked?
literally said, "Oh, that's what we were making." Oh, I get that.
There was a whole lot of stuff that when I could read, I was like, you lost me. Or there's like a whole chunk where I'm like,
it's all fighting, and you're kind of like, those sound like cool kicks. I don't understand though. And then also, they didn't know how to write Scarlet Witch's powers, so they just said, Scarlet Witch wiggly woos.
She does a wiggly woo.
And it's like,
there's a wiggly woo, and then Ultron, and this goes off.
So, yeah.
And mine was called Pietro Time.
Yeah, Pietro
So every time you go, so Joss would go, Pietro Time, and then
run.
That was my
your cue, yeah.
And we'd make it up with the stunts guys on the day, just.
Yeah, it's fun because you just keep changing, and it keeps it fresh, and you'd always have new surprises, and everyone's so much fun to work with. So it's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question is, last year I know with Godzilla you probably had to deal with a lot of CGI and everything. This year, I know you probably had to deal with a lot more CGI, especially with a lot more people wearing motion captures.
Yes.
What was it like getting used to all that CGI and seeing people, like Red Balls here and James Spader here?
I stopped looking because sometimes we'd have stunt guys in motion capture suits just standing in as Ultron for eye lines. I couldn't look them in the eye. Like, it was too silly to me. So I would just kind of look in their general area.
You
just play make-believe. You're a kid on a playground is all it really is. And you're like, you're just playing make-believe as an adult, and like that's what our job is, and it's more technical than that. But that's what it accesses like in you, and it's really freeing.
Yeah, I was actually surprised there wasn't actually it wasn't crazy amounts of
green screen.
In fact, I don't think there really was any green screen.
Only in reshoots.
Oh right, yeah.
That's it.
But it's kind of incredible now. Yes, special effects just goes quicker and quicker because, like, say when I did Kick-Ass, there was a lot of green screen on certain things, and whereas on this, I'd expect it would be the everyday thing. But we'd actually shoot on a lot of locations and have real
sets.
Buildings that we're going to blow up and that, because they were going to demolish them a week later.
So they're really blowing up things.
Which helped because the whole scenario is very surreal, and it's fantasy and what have you, and you've got superpowers, but where you're running around is actually a real environment, and there are cars blowing up and
really loud gun noises.
So it kind of helps. You kind of have a little bit of you can feel.
You feel part of the environment. Yeah.
That's cool.
Hi, I'm really excited. I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit more about how you got into acting and how you came into this profession.
I went to school in New York. I just did it as a kid, but for fun my whole life, for camps and classes, danced a lot. And then came to NYU for training. And this studio I was working at, it's called the Atlantic Theater Company. It's an off-Broadway company in the city. And they started having me audition for their plays to do understudy work. So I started understudying in theater. And then I started auditioning for films because I got an agent that way. It was really just because I was at the right place, kind of at the right time, and I didn't get into Brown, so things would have turned out differently had I. So I'm really thankful that rejection came my way. Yeah, Aaron's been doing it forever.
Yeah, I started when I was 6. I just kind of, I guess I had really great parents who allowed me those opportunities. I went to a very small, modest little, what would be like a little, I don't know, a little place that did drama and dance and what have you, and yeah, and I just there were little auditions that would go up to London and do. I mean, it started off very small. I did commercials, did theatre, did TV. You know, right until I was 10 was when I did my first film, and then and I learned a lot because I was already kind of like immersed in kind of like theatre acting and kind of was really over the top and then my experience has just been kind of learning on the job really and being opposite actors and then figuring it all out and playing with it. It's been very my school of acting has been very kind of instinctual and natural and kind of built in my own way that is just kind of expressive and therapeutic in a way, and then the way I pick roles kind of has some, I have to relate to characters and then I guess there's some sort of through line and connection to it, but it never really, some things kind of weirdly mirror experiences in my life, and so it sort of weirdly, it sort of feels more artistic and creative and sort of therapeutic to me. I don't know who gave me the question. It was down here somewhere, right? It kind of built itself together and.
Cool. And on that note, thank you guys so much, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Elizabeth Olsen.
Thank you so much.
Avengers: Age of Ultron is out on Friday.